Sunday, everyone, and welcome back to Self-Care Sunday. My name is Addison, and I'm so excited to get to chat with you all about some myths about self-care today. Before we get started, I want to mention that these videos are not intended to replace counseling services. So if you're interested in counseling services or seeking those, please call our office at 405-377-3380. If you're watching this video and you're not in the Payne County area, thank you again so much for watching. You all can call 211 and they'll connect you with counseling resources near you. If you're watching this video and you're in a mental health or medical emergency, please call 911. And if you have questions or comments about self-care or anything like that, you can comment on this video. Please be aware that this is a social media platform, so the comments you leave will be visible to other members of the public. And with that, I am ready to jump in. I'm really excited about this topic today because since starting these videos, I've been having more conversations with people about self-care and reading more about people's thoughts and opinions on it. And it inspired me to do some more research about myths about self-care. So I will be linking some more articles about self-care myths down below in the description box of this video. So please feel free to check those out if you want some more information. So let's start with the first myth, because I touched on this one a little bit in the introductory video, which is what is self-care, which is our last video. And the first myth on here is that self-care is all or nothing, that it's either a full day of getting pampered or a vacation, or it's nothing at all. And I definitely want to take this time to debunk that one first, because it kind of goes along with, after watching the last video, I kind of realized that I never mentioned something really important to you all, which is that another kind of myth or common thing I think you should know about self-care is that it's not easy. A lot of us are working maybe multiple jobs and have kids and significant others and multiple hats that we wear, and it can be really hard to find the time to engage with self-care. And so I think that that perpetuates this myth. The first one is that self-care is all or nothing, because a lot of people I think that I've talked to, and definitely in my mind too sometimes, I think, well, I'm a student and I'm working and it's really hard to find the time. And so I hope these videos can be a place where you come and realize that I want to validate all of the hard work each of you all are doing in your own lives, and acknowledge the fact that self-care is going to look different for everybody. And for everybody, it's not going to be all or nothing. That through this time and these practices, we can learn to figure out how to incorporate small amounts of self-care into our lives that align with the resources that we do have. Which leads us into the second myth, which is that self-care requires resources that you don't have. I know we mentioned last video too that when I talk about self-care, some people are like, I don't have the time or the money for that. And that can be true for certain aspects of self-care. Like a lot of the times we don't have the money to go do an entire spa day. And if we do, that's awesome. And I really encourage you to go do that and get pampered, because that is awesome. But if you don't, this is a space for us to figure out what type of self-care can we put into your life that aligns with the time and resources that you do have. In the research I was doing, there is a counselor who was talking about self-care, and she said that self-care does not have to involve an expensive spa or tropical vacation, nor does it need to take hours of your day. And I thought that kind of sentiment from her name's Joyce Martyr, is really on point, right? We're trying to figure out what self-care can recharge you and not take your whole day or charge up your credit card. So another quote that I really liked is from this, her name's Anna Guest Jelly. She's an body empowerment educator and yoga teacher, and she said that, I believe that self-care is really found in the small moments of life. When you choose to take a deep breath because you notice you're feeling stressed, or when you give yourself 3 minutes before bed to sit quietly and reflect on your day. And I thought that was so powerful and really aligns with the fact that self-care doesn't have to take all your, or resources or time or money or things like that you don't currently have. The next myth we went over in the last video too, which is that self-care is optional, because at some point or another our bodies will force us to slow down, will force us to need more sleep or need more time or need something other than what we're giving it. The next myth I'll go into a little bit more, because I thought that this one was pretty interesting. It said that, so the myth is that self-care is only for women. And I took some time to ponder on that one, because I have definitely never viewed it that way, but I think that, and clearly it's in this article a couple articles I was reading, that people do view self-care, they think of, like we've talked about, the, spa days and things like that, and they kind of associate those with women, and I really want to challenge that, because I think it's amazing when men and other individuals can engage in self-care as well, because everyone needs it, right? Gender doesn't determine the fact that our bodies need the ability to recharge. So self-care is not just for women. Self-care is not a more feminine activity. It is for everybody and needed by everyone, because it's the recharge we give to keep going with our lives, and everybody needs that. So the next myth is that self-care is anything that gives you that soothing feeling. And self-care should give you that soothing feeling, and this myth is on there because I think, and I've fallen into this too, when I think about self-care, I think about getting a whole bag of chips and some French onion dip and binge watching a show. And that does feel good. But sometimes for me, at least, that creates that kind of like guilt feeling afterwards, or like the maybe some negative consequences, because right, if I eat a whole bag of chips, I feel kind of sluggish. And so I think the point of this myth is just to say that we need to be a little intentional with our self-care and try to choose something like, I know meditation does not work for everyone, but try to choose something that does promote our own wellness. So engaging in self-care, if it's, I love food. I love cookies. I love brownies. I love all of those comfort foods. But if I overindulge in them, it's not soothing anymore. It creates a stomach ache, or sometimes I get a headache or my eyes hurt if I watch too much TV. And so basically we're just saying that self-care shouldn't be an overindulgent activity that ends with guilt. It should be something that we're doing in moderation, if possible, to promote our own wellness. So yes, it feels good. I feel good when I get to catch up on a show or something that doesn't cross over into that line, maybe of binge watching it. All right. So the next one, I liked this one, that practicing self-care means making a choice between yourself and others. And I think this one's so important, and it goes along with the other myth we talked about last time a little bit, which is that self-care is selfish, right? That it's all about us, that we're choosing us, that it's a self-care activity, or that it's a selfish activity, sorry. And I really want to push back against that one too, because a lot of the times we have people in our lives, or things or activities or something in our life that demands our time and energy, and we've chosen to give our time and energy to that person or multiple people or work activity or hobbies or things like that because we like them, we love them, they bring us joy. But in any activity, if you do it consistently over and over and don't take the time to recharge, think about your phone. You can use it all day, playing games on it, looking things up, scrolling through social media, doing a crossword puzzle, all of those things. But at night or at some point during the day, your battery's going to flash and say that it's low and that it needs to be recharged so you can keep using it for the things you enjoy. Your emotions and your body work the same way. If your body's flashing at you or your mind's flashing at you and telling you, hey, your battery's running low, you won't have anything to give if you don't recharge, then you won't be able to spend that time the way you want to with the people who mean the things in your life. Because I'm speaking for myself here, but when I get tired and exhausted and I feel ragged and run down, it's really hard for me to be that joyous, bubbly person I want to be around the people that I care about, because I haven't engaged in any self-care. I haven't gotten enough sleep. I haven't eaten a snack or done the things that recharge me. And so that myth, I think, is super important along with the rest of these. And that actually was our last one for today. And I know that there are plenty more. This isn't designed to serve as a fully exhaustive list, but those are some of the biggest ones that I have found in conversations with people thinking about self-care and what I thought was important to note before moving forward. As we wrap up, I do just want to reiterate the fact that times right now are uncertain and difficult and challenging and extremely busy. And I do want to acknowledge that our culture, I feel like sometimes is one where it's like, I think about when you start to date somebody, right? One of the first questions you get asked is, what do you do? There's such a big emphasis placed on what we do, the amount of work we're putting into the stream of life, like how busy are we? And so it can be hard sometimes and feel kind of icky to talk about self-care, right? Because I don't want it to be something that we look longingly at, like across the room, something we can't access. So this YouTube channel, but these videos in particular are designed to be videos that acknowledge and validate everyone's busy schedules, their own struggles that they're going through, and also just to say that we're here to try to incorporate some self-care into the busy, hopefully joyous, packed full life that you have that works for you and works for the resources you have. So I hope you'll join us again next Sunday as we start getting into some more specific activities. These are all trial and error to figure out what brings you joy, what do you have time for, what could you incorporate into your routine. So I'm really excited to move forward with this. I want to wrap up again by saying that these videos are not intended to replace counseling services. So if you've watched this video and you've realized, my body or my mind are flashing at me and I'm really run down and I'd really just like someone to talk to, then please feel free to call our office number at 405-377-3380. And as always, if you do please leave us a comment or a like if you enjoyed this video, but please be aware that all of your comments will be visible to other members of the public and that these comments on these videos will be checked regularly. So if you have suggestions or comments or questions, please feel free to leave them down below and I will get to them as soon as possible. Thank you so much again for joining me for another Self-Care Sunday video, and I'll see you next Sunday.